What is up? Absolutely sitting post Australia Day, post workout, post refueling the car, post everything really. And okay, for anyone who's not Australian here, Australia Day in Australia is basically slang for alcohol Christmas. All right, so it's arguably a bigger celebration. The stereotype that Australians can really drink a lot of alcohol is 100% true. So it's really early morning for post Australia Day. It's not even a Saturday. This is just post Australia Day. So I had a very interesting national celebration because I was with a few mates, as you do, you know, being patriotic about my country, and a couple of us decided to go out and get some food, right? So me and this mate, incidentally, this mate of mine is type 1 diabetic, okay? Very, very fit dude as well. So he's right on top of his, you know, insulin. He's been diabetic since he was 11, like 28 years of experience with this stuff, right? And he's very much self-medicated in terms of the amount of insulin and stuff that he takes. And so, like, he's never had an issue, never had a hypo, you know, that I've been witness to. Apparently hadn't had one in years. Anyway, you can see where this is story going. He's gone, all right, yep, he's a little bit intoxicated. He's given himself some rapid insulin. There's a Nova Rapid. He's stuck himself with a little bit of that. I wasn't really paying too much attention. I just saw the act, you know, I didn't know how much or when, but he's got one of those pens that records it. So fortunately. Anyway, off we trot to get some food, and we end up ducking by a bar to get a drink on the way. Or we're walking, right? And he sort of goes, oh, you know, yeah, we'll just drop in and get a drink here, but then we got to get some food. We're all thinking, yep, absolutely. He has a drink, and I think, you know, time got away. We forgot about it. You know, he forgot about it. As I said, he's usually right on top of this stuff. Anyway, I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh man. You know, we're gonna go get some food now. You know, we've been here, we've had our drink. It's too crowded in here. Australia Day at a pub or bar is just standing room only in Australia. So anyway, he looks over and he sort of nods, you know, and I didn't think anything of it, but I didn't realize that he had already started going hypo from the insulin without any food to back it up, and that's why he wasn't talking to respond. You know, we've started walking out there, and he started to get a little bit, you know, light on his feet, so to speak. And I was thinking, oh yeah, you know, he's had a bit to drink, so we'll help him out. And then all of a sudden, it started getting like next level. Like he wasn't responding to me. We got out of this little bar that we were at. He wasn't responding. He was stumbling all over the place. Eyes were widened, and he started flop sweat. And instantly I've been like, shit, he's going into, you know, diabetic shock. He's going hypoglycemic. And my first thought was food, straight away. We need to get this guy food instantly. So at this point, he's been sort of stumbling around, and I've just cut out the middleman. You know, and this is a crowd of people going up and down the street and all this sort of stuff. I've just been like, fuck this. Picked him straight up, because he was not with it anymore, you know, like picked him up and started just running down the street. We were very close to his house, right? This is where we were all hanging around. But I started running down the street because they've closed off the street that was right next to the pizza place that I would have otherwise just run in there and just shoved his head into a pizza, like, because he needed food, right? And anyway, I'm running down the street, and then all of a sudden, he like, whereas before he was, you know, kind of, you could see the eyes were tracking what I was saying, the lights were on, but he just couldn't, you know, respond to me. All of a sudden, the eyes just start going, darting back and forward, and he becomes almost, like, he passes out, right? That's when I knew that even if I had access to food, we won't be able to get him to eat it. So I've set him down. This is literally in front of like an apartment complex. There's a really nice security guard there who was going to go get the ambulance. Unfortunately, he was a bit generously proportioned, and there were some paramedics already on this street, because this street was having a massive Australia Day party at the particular place that's on this street. And some guy, like we walked past this guy actually on the way to go find ourselves some food. This guy was laying there pissing out blood all over the place. He'd stumbled and put his head through the plate glass window of a business. I don't even know what the establishment was. We saw the hole, but he'd severed one of his arteries in his neck. And so there was pandemonium already on this street, okay? But fortunately, they had just resolved that issue. So I sent the security guard to go get him. And then we had like a couple of other people come over and say, oh, is everything okay? You know, we rolled him on his side, all this sort of stuff. Of course, he just needed sugar. You know, I didn't know how low his blood sugar was getting because, you know, I wasn't privy to the amount that he gave himself. You know, I just saw the injections happen as the night was going. I was keeping a little bit of an eye on him, but, you know, he's so on top of it usually. Anyway, this guy, you know, as I said, generously proportioned security guard. He was getting a pretty slow walk on. So I've just pish bolted up and just lapped him, overtaken him straight away, and like got up to the paramedics and said, this is the situation. I don't know how much he's had. We have to check his pen. We need glucose. You know, can you help us? I brought back a sort of flotilla of them with me. There was police and paramedics involved, and we get back there and someone is fumbling through his stuff, right? Because the first thing that you think when, like I told them that he was diabetic and he's you know, gone hypo, to someone who doesn't understand what that means, they think, get his insulin pen and let's stab him. If you're trying to get a good clean kill, that's what you do to him. He's already got not enough blood sugar. If you hit him with insulin again, he's going to die. And so I've almost crash tackled this random bitch who's got this insulin pen out, and she's cranked it up to fucking 3 units. I know for a fact this guy's usual dose is 2.5 IU. So, you know, there was the assassination attempt coming from left field from this fucking random stranger. Anyway, we get the police there, the advanced paramedics come over, they do his bloods, they measured a 1. A 1. That's bad, man. Like, this is like serious. This is very serious. He almost died, you know. You hit him with 3 units of insulin, then that would have been a good clean kill. Anyway, so I was, you know, getting a little bit annoyed because they seem to be just, and I know that you leave it to the professionals. I'm just a dentist. I'm not a fucking, you know, paramedic or doctor. So I was being very kind of withdrawn. But I was like, can someone hook him up to a fucking glucose bag? Like, honestly, I knew that's what he needed. How is it taking you this long? Blood sugar 1, battle stations, people. Anyway, he started having fits, right? Because when the blood sugar goes that far down, he starts spasming. And like this guy, he's mid 70 kilo range, right? And I'm 110 kilos, okay, of mostly fluff. But still, I've got, you know, a significant amount of body weight on him. It took me, 5 police officers, another random person, and a paramedic to pin this guy down long enough to put the fucking line into his veins. He had the strength of 1,000 men, and you know, we can laugh about it now. Obviously the dude is okay. That's spoiler alert, but he's fine. But holy shit, like I had his legs, and at one point, like I was not holding back either. Like, he's got bruises all over him, but I was trying to hold this guy still. And at one point, I swear to Christ, I lifted off the ground. Like, this dude was just, is a strength that I've never even seen. We've been working out in the same gym for 3 years. I've never seen him display this kind of power. Anyway, they get the line into him, and they hook him up to the first bag of glucose. Goes in, it bumps his glucose up to 4. They test him about 15 minutes later, back at 1. So it ends up, before they get him in the ambulance, they've given him 3 bags of glucose as well as the saline that you wash that through with. So this dude's swimming, you know, like it was a very serious event. Like, you know, as I said, we can joke and laugh about it now, but holy shit, he came close to dying, you know, and I would have been absolutely fucking ropeable if anything had happened, because these guys didn't, you know, just jump in with it straight away. Like, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out what's going on when he's been diabetic type 1 since he's 11. Anyway, they've pretty much, you know, gotten him a little bit stable. He's now responsive, right? And he has no idea what's going on, right? This dude's thinking like, holy shit, did I get hit by a car? Like, what's happening? Anyway, he just goes, I'm so hungry. And they're like, good, you know, he's coming back. They load him into the ambulance, no less. The paramedics we had were honestly fantastic. You know, I've got nothing but good words to say about him. But in the ambulance, they gave him another bag of IV glucose, and they gave him an oral sort of sachet like the marathon runners have. And he was starting to perk up a little bit, but really it wasn't until, and this guy, as I said, incredibly fit guy, all right? So he's been a personal trainer for years, and he is in immaculate shape, right? He's very lean, he's, you know, very fit, there's everything I'm not. So he's not one to go for, you know, the white bread sandwiches. They get to the hospital, this guy put down 2 like boxed sandwiches, white bread and ham, tomato, cheese, faster than I could even keep track of with my eyes. And, you know, obviously after that, he's very, as I said, he's very familiar with his body. So he knows exactly, you know, how much of what he needs and stuff like that. So he started to perk right up, and then, you know, it got, as I said, everything got a little bit better. But holy crap, like we had a very interesting Australia Day. That's for damn sure. So, you know, he's laughing about it and everything. Now, the dude was back in the gym this morning, not working out, but training his clients and everything like that. A couple of bandages all over him. He was battered and bruised, admittedly, but as I said, he had these guys, you know, there was no one could hold back when they were trying to restrain him. I was astonished by how much strength that he had, because I've had a lot of experience with epilepsy seizures and spasms and stuff like that. Ex-partner of mine was epileptic, and I know that there's some strength that can be mustered from locations that you're not aware existed, but this was next level. But yeah, it's one of those things that you go out for your little Australia Day, and freak accident as well. You know, this dude's so on top of it, meticulous about everything in his life, nutrition especially. So blood sugar and everything is kept on a tight lock. And really what I'm sort of saying this story for is, you guys got to look out for your mates. You know, you got to take this sort of shit seriously. You can think that, you know, a lot of people think that, oh yeah, you know, type 1 diabetes, you know, or type 2, and they go into, anything funny happens with them, you shoot them with insulin, they're fine. You can kill someone doing that, okay? So if you've got a friend who's diabetic, or with any condition like that, get to know the condition. Because if you're in a situation like that, and say I didn't know what I was doing, and I went for that insulin pen and stuck him, he'd have died. And I would have been responsible for that. And let me tell you, that's not an Australia Day memory that you want to have, or any celebration memory you want to have. So I know that got a little bit dark towards the end there, but as I said, he's fine. I might flick in the photo of me and him at the hospital when he perked up, because it's a good one. And I'm really glad that, you know, obviously he's one of my best mates, and I'm really glad that he hasn't, you know, completely fucked himself. But really, you know, as I said, look out for each other. You know, Australia Day is all about mates. You know, that's what Australian kinsmanship is fucking built on. So, yeah, look out for each other. And if you've got a friend with a medical condition, man, you know, really don't let them stick their neck out for the fucking guillotine, because you don't know what you're doing. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you later.